happening? Hey, just about to get everything set. Just gonna get a little bit of paper. Give me 1 second. No, I'm just on live. All right. Oh, I need to switch it this way. There you go. So today I just felt like talking about wealth alchemy. I tend to channel a lot on the weekends, and I don't always record my channelings because I'm like, oh, it's so inconvenient. I want to be in the mood. I want to stay in the zone. If I set up a camera, then I'm going to be screwed. And then today I was like, you know what? Let's just try to not make it so fancy. Let's just go right into it. Just whatever. We got a customized life. So thank you for being here. Hopefully you can hear me well. If you hear any music in the background, it is a band playing outside. Hopefully it's not gonna bother you. Oh crap, I forgot my water. Give me 2 more seconds. Perfect. So we're gonna be talking about wealth alchemy. I've been channeling it a lot, and I'm gonna share with you why. I also got this really dope tarot deck, and as I channel, I'm gonna show you guys how I kind of like just channel at home by myself, and maybe it'll give you ideas. Maybe you're already doing it and you don't even know about it, and now you know. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. Get myself in the mood. Let me get in the mood. All right. So I'm a super ADHD person, and maybe you are too. Maybe you're creative and you think a lot, right? And you just don't know how to organize it. Sometimes you say, oh, well, I have to create a video sales letter or VSL, but you then have to record a course. And this can be any 2 options. You might have a bunch of things on your plate. You have to go pick up your kids at a certain time, but you would love to do like some sort of meditation class, etc., right? We usually complicate life by having 2 options in our mind instead of consolidating the 2. So the VSL is part of the journey of creating a course, right? And maybe meditation can be part of you having to pick up your kids at a specific time. Why not turn the whole practice into a meditative state? A lot of people create like these really close threads to each other, kind of like, you know, they're in the same realm because the person's like here, right? They're in the same realm, they belong to me and they're part of my personal space. And that kind of just complicates life because eventually, like, if you procrastinate the VSL, then you have time, and then time's eventually going to go ahead and create anxiety. And then that anxiety is eventually going to go ahead and create stress. And then before you know it, like, you're just procrastinating. Right? And this is kind of like the methodology that happens with everyone. Is like we're so accustomed to keeping things separate in our minds instead of seeing them as being part of the greater journey and like they're part of the same flow, right? If you simplify your thoughts and the way you look at them, you leave more space for flow. And this one literally came to me like an hour ago, okay? I'm sharing this shit live, okay? So I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And I'm like, oh, a VSL, I hate making VSLs, but I understand they're completely essential for making courses like really profitable and reach the right kind of people. And then it hit me like, okay, I started thinking about Taoism. If you don't know what Taoism is, it's basically like a philosophy of life. Some people would say it's like a spiritual practice similar to like Buddhism or something like that. Some people consider it a religion, but basically it talks about how life is always in flow, right? Like life is a huge river, and when you realize that it's this river, you have to then work with it. And we think about like money, right? Whenever you think about the word money or you talk about it, everywhere, doesn't matter what it is going to bring up like some connection to water. Oh, if you want to have more money, then you have to be in flow, right? Or we're going to change exchange currency, right? Because the currents. And then you have a lot of other kind of connections like the banks, like the river banks, all of these associations tied to water. So if the cosmos, which is a divine feminine feature, okay, so the universe, and I'm just going to just draw a spiral. The universe is like this a flow, it's in flow. We can associate that with water, and this is the symbol that we use for water, okay, in alchemy. This is the symbol of the cosmos. They're both in flow. They're both doing this right here. So it doesn't make sense to create a bunch of different currents that then kind of work together but then cause other issues instead of changing your thoughts. So thinking about, oh man, a VSL, oh, it's not the same thing as being part of the journey of creating a course. Then came in time, anxiety, stress, procrastination, and then everything that these other things end up creating. Like you end up having things stack up, you end up getting more stress, and some of these patterns just keep repeating themselves, all because you separated the idea of, making a course and making a VSL when they're part of the same thing. The same thing as having a meditative practice and going to pick up your kids at school. Like, it's all just one flow. It's one thing, right? We think about source, and source is one. So a lot of times we don't even see how we're thinking in separative modes that keep us further away from source. And that's what's been really crazy, kind of really understanding like the whole process of wealth. So we understand that instead of having two ideas and separating our lives and compartmentalizing our lives, we're just going to say it's part of the journey. That you have to have a VSL somewhere in there, and then you have to obviously create a course somewhere in there. But it's just part of the journey. Now you are in flow. Life is less complicated because you're instead of compartmentalizing, it's just one stream of consciousness. Therefore it opens up more of your ability to perceive, because you're not getting caught up in all this like super convoluted detail, right? You're not seeing all of that. You're seeing clearly now. You're in flow. When you're in flow, you'll naturally see money. So sometimes people are like, oh, like I have to create the flow. Creating the flow is simplifying your thoughts. When you can think more quickly and efficiently, you're already in flow. When you think intuitively, you're already in flow, right? And that's the whole point of like people coming through and wanting to, they think their intuition is about tapping into clairvoyance or tapping into this or that. The clairvoyance, the psychic abilities, that's a byproduct of understanding the blueprint of reality, because they're manifestations. So what am I saying? Manifestations are the material universe, okay? Things don't necessarily manifest in higher dimensions. The way we'll understand them from where we're at right now in the third dimension is manifestation, okay? So if you're in the 11th dimension, you want something, it's boof, right there, instantaneous. There's no second thought about it. There's no waiting for it. The moment you have the thought, it shows up. And it's kind of like, if it's so instantaneous, did it really manifest? Wasn't it always already there? You just didn't choose to perceive the thing that you were looking for, right? You change your perception, therefore you got your manifestation, which is, again, the only closest way we can understand what we're actually trying to describe. That's being in flow. The less convoluted you are with being in flow, the more in tune you are with the cosmos. Hello. That's all that there really is. And then what does this look like? This looks like a freaking vortex. Abraham Hicks always talks about a vortex. Get in the center of this vortex, okay? And then everything's gonna start revolving around you. It's the same thing. The cosmos has a freaking black hole in the center of it. You know what they call the galactic sun? That's at the center of the universe. That's it. When we look at this symbol right here in Antojai Alchemy, okay, this symbol literally means, this dot with a circle in the center literally means to be in an ascended space, to be the center of like a specific space. Everything revolves around you. It's the galactic sun. You can think about the physical sun like we have here, you know, like things revolve around the sun, the planets. Or you can think about a black hole, which the cosmos revolves around the black hole. The divine feminine is chaotic. It dances, is what a lot of alchemy tells you. She doesn't like to be told what to do. She likes to just be in flow. She'll do things for you because she can, and you respect her, and you work with her. You're in flow. That's literally the alchemy of the cosmos right now. We're living in a reality that is primarily divine feminine at this moment. That doesn't mean the divine masculine doesn't work. We need the divine masculine to put structures into our reality. So we end up saying, you know, I wanna create, I want to create, I don't know, fucking like a car. Okay, I want to create a car. If you don't have the divine masculine with an attack plan to get, which is essentially a program to get to the car efficiently, and you're only relying on the divine feminine, you'll still get the car if you're specifically working with the divine feminine, right? But I mean, she could, you know, she could also, until you ended up getting there. So the divine masculine is this thing that like a lot of people are like, ah, like men and like the whole Martian mentality and all this other stuff is the enemy. It's not. You need it. Otherwise, it's inconvenient. Being in flow is great, but if the flow doesn't have a specific direction, the flow's gonna go everywhere. You know what I mean? So that's where we start mastering creating programs with the divine masculine, which we've already done. We've seen them. We see programs everywhere. If you don't understand how programs work in society at this point, then you must be blind, right? Because their culture is a program. Like everyone has a culture where there's do's and don'ts. Like you can do something and you can't do something. You can date a certain kind of person, but you can't date another kind of person. That's a program, right? You have a program in the sense of like what's expected from like general global acceptance, right? So like it's in a lot of like globally pretty much it's not okay to kill another person, like it's not okay to do certain things, you know, it's like a human consensus, right? It doesn't go across the board, but there are these primordial rules that we obey to, these programs that we obey to. The program of time is another one we obey to. Without time, we just have this. We just have the divine feminine, which, if you don't know how to navigate this to you seems like chaos. Straight up. It's chaos to you. So then you're like, if you're unaware, when a person becomes awakened, okay, they've been living under this program forever, whatever that program is. And usually the program, we can just call it the ego, really. And the ego can be identified by your personality. And your personality is defined by your name. What you call yourself is literally going to create the personality. We see that in science. People who have like the name Greg, for instance, they have a certain kind of personality. They just do, and they go a certain level of excellence even in their own life. It's not a 100% thing that goes across everyone, but there's a high percentage that if you have a very common name, you're most likely not going to be as driven or successful as other people who have unique names, okay? That's science. That's because automatically your name kind of opens up the doors. So then your name, as you grow up as a kid, creates your personality, and your personality ends up just reinforcing and shaping the ego. And then that ego creates a program, and then that ego is also created by culture, and then is created by family, is created by education. People don't think about that either. Why do you think that the society that we live in makes it harder for certain people to get educated? Because simply education alone will give you the opportunity and ability to analyze all these other areas of life. Education doesn't necessarily mean having to go to college. That's another program that's been created, that in order for you to get education, you have to go to college over here because your family probably like wants you to do it and it's expected in your freaking culture. And I mean, like, that's all part of your personality, right? I mean, how could you go against that program? I mean, your ego wants to be free, but it just knows that it can't create a reality that's seemable to be free if it doesn't play by all these other rules, right? And then that still seems like chaos because you're not living your authentic self. So you're not in flow. Like, you might think you're in flow, you're just stuck in one specific programming, and you're eventually gonna naturally start thinking like this. Like, your whole life is gonna be compartmentalized. And you wanna know how that happens? Because this happens to every person, 100%. There's you, right? The I am. There's the you, the I am. And then there's the ego you, or your personality, right? The personality. And maybe you might live that life for a hot minute, maybe 20, 40 years, whoever knows. Maybe just 10. Maybe you never step into that. But eventually you're going to realize that you completely ignored another person, another version of yourself. The you, and some people live their lives only pursuing this direction, knowing that this is what they should be doing, which is freedom. Which means freedom is just another simplified word for transcending. So when you think about transcend, don't think about transformation, because transformation is still really scary to certain people's consciousness, all right? We don't want to work in fear. We need to address the fear at some point in our lives. Like, why does the word, transcendental, like, makes me feel kind of like the heebie-jeebies? You have to come to that eventually. But in order to ascend, it's not necessary to look at that at this moment. There's this common misconception that in order for you to become free and to transcend, that you have to heal the ego so that you can move this way. Okay? So you want to move from being egotistical in a limited space to being who you are. Okay? There's this common misconception that you have to heal, which this is bullshit. You don't have to heal, especially right now in the climate that we're in. I mean, people still want to heal because they're going to only be able to retain whatever it is that their consciousness can retain at that moment. I'm not talking about, like, if you're still in the healing phase, I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong, because that's something that you might need for right now. But I want you to still, like, understand that healing has to stop at some point, because you're only going to keep reinforcing your ego if you continue to heal. Therefore, you cannot fully transcend. You might have moments that are transcendental and they put you in here for maybe a month, a year, a day, but eventually, hey, there's this thing called polarity and there's a thing called rhythm. Okay, so let me see. Do I have my pendulum anywhere close by? I know you close, girl. There you go. Rhythm. Okay, we're going to associate the energies of reality as being like a pendulum. Okay, and the rhythm is just how it kind of like sways back and forth, at what speed, and how it ends up going around. And then point this point over here is one polarity, and this point over here is another polarity. We're constantly going between the two. As the pendulum keeps going around, there's something called cause and an effect, right? Because we just, oof, that's what happened, right? Cause and effect. Without this, there is no like shift in reality that is permanent. Okay, if you don't understand that, if I'm holding the pendulum here all the time and you heal from your ego and you go into a transcendental moment of like understanding where your childhood trauma comes from, and you're still being really powerful, you're healing yourself, you're going on this journey, but all of your healing keeps bringing you back to the original point that gave you transcendence. That's not, you didn't transcend. And that's the thing that people don't understand. Like, oh yeah, I transcended. I was able to meet my spirit guides when I understood that I had to let go of this one limitation from my inner child. And then they keep going through their healing process and they still somehow end up coming to the original concept of the inner child that they said they transcended. No, they transcended away from it just to have an understanding of what was the limitation. And then if you are constantly coming back to the same realization or same issue, you're in a loop. And this is what happens to a lot of people. You just become, you end up endlessly being in a loop. And then some people get convinced that that's the multidimensional nature of reality. And they create this as their infinity. Okay? And that infinity keeps them locked in a cycle. And then they never really transcend or ascend a limited thought that they created. Because this alternate reality that I'm explaining to you that happens with the ego is that it's a perception of reality. Hopefully that makes sense so far. Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath. So how do you end up moving from here to here? How do you actually ascend? Instead of trying to heal your ego, how do you actually ascend? Well, you have to understand that if the pendulum starts from here and it's always going to have the same effect over and over and over within a certain radius, you got to literally pick up the pendulum and put it somewhere all the way over here. That your option is the transcendence only and something new. The transcendence only and something new. And the only way you can do that is by stating, I understand where the program came from. There's nothing wrong with the program because that program exists in infinity. It has to exist because it's a thought in source mind. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. We had what seemed to be the illusion of a shitty dream, a shitty experience with our childhood and our family and our ex and our job and our life. That was the illusion, because we were in a program that supplied that illusion. We, even if we wake up from here, right? And this is what scares a lot of people. It's like people will wake up from this programming And then they're left with all this over here, and then they have the dark night of the soul because they haven't learned how to control their emotions. One of the major issues that ends up creating like the dark night of the soul or like a negative ascension experience is the fact that the person wasn't in flow to begin with, and now they're just given free rein into stepping into the flow because they had an epiphany of some sort, right? Whatever the epiphany is, it comes to everyone in a different way. So then they end up becoming one in flow. They get the whole expansion of the cosmos, but they never really understood who they were. And it's like giving somebody, it's like giving a kid a freaking race car, a Ferrari. You know what I mean? They're not going to take care of that. And they're not going to be responsible with it. And you're pretty much putting everyone at risk because you're putting so much power in a person's hands. The fail-safe of this when it comes to reality versus a car is that this person is now really being hit by the attraction method. And nobody ever talks about this, dude. Like, nobody really talks about it. Everyone says, like, where your attention goes, your energy flows, right? Cool, whatever. But the law of attraction literally is a neutral vibration. We talk about how the cosmos is going to give you whatever you want, but we don't look at how the law of attraction really ends up messing up people during the ascension process. So people wake up and then now they're in the flow and they have access to the cosmos without realizing it. They don't know who they are. So then now they're attracting all the bullshit programming effects that happen here. Oh, my mom makes me feel freaking insecure. And you know, my job just like gives me so much stress. And you know, like my personality says I can't leave my boyfriend because, you know, he's like Instagram hot. And you then start, you are given the opportunity to step into a higher reality, and your insecurity is no longer in this little box. Your insecurity is now interacting with manifestation. So you're gonna attract a narcissist because you have that much power and you're ignorant to it. You don't know what reality is. Stress. Oh God. Okay, maybe you start working with the law of attraction after this awakening process. You want to make more money, so you do end up making more money, but you end up getting a job that demands more time from you. Did you escape? No. Yo, your ego tells you you can't let go of your boyfriend because your boyfriend's like Instagram hot and he's like, everybody is so jealous that you guys are dating. So you stay in a relationship that doesn't make you feel happy. And the cost of happiness came from that programming. So then you had an awakening, and now you're having these shitty experiences. And for some people, they come harder than others. Because if you have a really high vibration, if part of your path was that you were going to make some huge waves in the cosmos, those are the people that, oh, their insecurities attracted a narcissist that literally, I don't know, tried to kill them. And the stress that's demanding them their time now has given them like high blood pressure. And being in that relationship, not being happy, time again has passed by. And your ego doesn't really like to comprehend time. So now you feel like you missed out. And then, you know, that makes you feel sad and hopeless. You didn't do things right. And maybe that reminds you of your family. Your parents had a very similar kind of energy. And now you're able to create more because you became awakened. And some people don't step out of the dark night of the soul. Some people do understand how to kind of maybe navigate through the dark night of the soul, through the chaos. A lot of people end up realizing that they have to give up all of this so that they can let go of all of this programming, and they can then start anew. So they can become new people. They can become more powerful. And that is how wealth comes into play again. All of that is applied to your wealth. The complication of your thoughts. If you don't want to heal, don't heal. Simplify your thoughts. Simplifying your thoughts will then put you into the galactic flow of reality. Hopefully you're meditating with me. If you're not, then just join in right now. Take a deep breath. So, being in flow gets you more money because you're essentially accessing more possibilities that can work for you. And like I talked to you about the negativity of how you would be waking up and not realizing how much power you have based off of how reality is designed, right? So let me show you how you really want to start designing wealth. So if you're going to start designing wealth, this is how you do it correctly. And I promise you it's going to happen real quick. No joke. And then I'm going to share with you the downloads that I've had today because cryptocurrency is going crazy. I invest in cryptocurrency. I'm having this moment right now that I can't even like fully fathom. My crypto portfolio is down by a lot. So like thousands of dollars. And there's an old version of Axél that would have had the same experience and freaked out, like totally lost his shit. And I have somehow now evolved to a point of realizing the illusion of money and that it doesn't matter because if the crypto market doesn't go back up anyway, I'll be cool. Like I'm in flow. Like there's nothing gonna stop whatever abundance that has to come my way when I want it, right? So this might be helpful for you if you're looking at your portfolio right now, freaking out, okay? So if you're a crypto investor, if not, like it's, this will still help you somehow, right? So to be in flow, what you have to do is recognize what you're worth. And I talked about this in like a podcast I did earlier this week. What is your worth? Now, some people are going to be like, oh, well, I'm worth $100 an hour. Or like, I'm worth, all the things in the world. Get real specific. Like, you got to get real specific and don't think small in terms of matter. Like, what are you worth? And a really smart person, a person who understands alchemy is not going to say, I'm worth just $1 million. I'm just worth a brand new house, banging jeans, whatever. That's not what you're going to be doing. You're going to say, my worth is having all my desires fulfilled, or another one would be, give me 20 seconds, it's going to come to me. My worth is I want to use undescribable. My worth is undescribable. That means there's nothing you could ever say that really justifies how wealthy I am. And once you say something like that, you then gotta start looking for that in the now, because everything's happening right now. Like, there is no time, there is no space. Like, as much as you think that's an idea in your head, and yeah, I heard it a million times, and I kind of get it, and I hit that peak when I'm manifesting. Like, right now, there is no space. Like, if you're watching this live with me right now, we're in the same fucking space right now. Literally. Through the screen or through the astral, we're physically together right now. If you're watching this 20 years from now, we're still sitting, like, you and everybody else who's watching this is sitting in the same room right now, in the astral realm. That means everything right now is presently happening. Every option that you are capable of experiencing, you just need to validate that to your consciousness. You just need to shift your perception from all the bullshit, put yourself in the center of the vortex in flow, and then create a reality that no longer makes you swing back to your ego, but it allows you to step into a higher vibration where you're constantly transcending and hitting the next peak. So how is your wealth undescribable? I'm just going to use myself as an example because it'd be faster. Undescribable. I can channel crypto. Now this one right here, I'll explain to you why it's undescribable, because I don't think I've really shared this with a couple of people, like other than like my mother-in-law the other day. My father-in-law and my mother are on the other side. They've crossed over, right? So they haven't been here for several years on the material plane. They came through like 2 weeks ago in a meditation. They both spoke to my significant other and then told him there's going to be something huge that's about to come through, and it's going to seem scary, it's going to seem risky, it's an investment of some sort. Do it. If you do it, you're going to get a big ass payoff. You'll know what it is because it's going to be pretty obvious. 2 weeks later, we're where we're at right now. So we were able to prepare and understand that there was going to be some sort of financial shift that we had to then prepare ourselves for. That's an undescribable experience. It's the same kind of freaking experience where like people say they had a dream and their like mom came through and gave them the winning lottery numbers, right? So there's one great experience. I have to acknowledge that I had that experience so it comes to me. It's just seriously changing your perception of reality, acknowledging it. A lot of times people are like, oh, I want to become wealthy, I want to become wealthy, I want to become wealthy, but you don't see anywhere that you're already wealthy. Do your spirit guides talk to you? You should consider that a wealth, because there are people who are dying to have the experiences that you're having. And there are people who are not strong enough to have the experiences that you're having, so they're envious of where you're at right now. And unfortunately, with wealth comes the vibration of envy. With wealth does come the vibration of greed. If you're going to say, oh, wealth is bad because it has these vibrations associated to it, then you don't deserve wealth because you don't get it. But if you're willing to go for wealth and understand, okay, these are just natural properties in the chaotic realm of, all the possibilities that could exist inside of chaos when we're talking about wealth. I mean, it's just going to exist anyway because of, infinity, because that's just how everything is. You can then see the positives of having wealth. And you can experience and then have a filter where you avoid greedy people, where you avoid putting yourself in a situation where you end up attracting envy. Where you understand that when you feel greedy, that's a negative vibration of wealth, so you shouldn't be greedy. You're not going to work that way. You're going to be in flow, you're going to give it out. That you're not going to be envious of another person because it's all about being in flow. If you don't have what they have, it's because you probably don't want it as badly as your ego is telling you that you want it. That's why you don't have it. Otherwise, you would have it because you would be in flow, right? And some people could be like, well, I've been trying to grow my social media for a hot minute, and I just can't get there. So like, what, I have to heal that, or I'm just not in flow. How do I get in flow? Are you sure that's what you want? If it's something that you want, you're going to be able to find the undescribable moment that explains to you how you have a social media presence. And that can come to you through like somebody schedules an appointment with you and they're like, oh, I saw your TikTok. And nobody follows you on TikTok. You only have like 2,000 followers. I found you on TikTok. Do you acknowledge? Did you see that perception take form in your fucking mind? In front of you when that client said that to you? If you didn't, how are you going to step into having undescribable wealthy moments? It's all about creating a freaking flow, creating the vortex, right? The vortex is only going to keep coming through the more you become conscious of the fact that that's how the galactic sun, the ascendedness of controlling a space, the cosmos, being in flow, and consolidating your ideas is going to get you. Hopefully that's making sense. Hopefully it's vibing out. So basically for you, Now that you know this, and if you have to replay this a couple times to, like, customize it to yourself, do it, right? But you need to find the word that, what is your worth? It's undescribable. I have undescribable experiences that validate my worth, that then manifest literally wealth. Because wealth is just an idea. When you change your idea on what your worth is, and you're creative about it, and you're precise about it, because it's not enough as saying like, oh, my worth is love. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Love. You want to get love from your dog? Do you want to get love from people? Do you want to get love because you're actually giving back to the world? Do you want to feel love from nature? Do you want to feel love from the cosmos? Do you want to feel love from everything? Do you want to feel love at an orgy? That's literally what, like, you're just leaving it. I want to feel love. I want to feel love. What? What? I want to feel abundance. What does that mean to you? What is that? That's why if you've taken the Star of Lakshmi, in the Star of Lakshmi, there's a sector that says monetary, and there's a sector that says endless prosperity. And I make you figure out what's your key word that will give you the perception of what money actually means to you and what endless prosperity actually means to you. In my case, money to me is just desire. Like, I want something, just make it happen. I don't care. And it literally works out that way all the time, because I have now understood that it doesn't really come down to the money, the physical cash that's like available anywhere. It just comes back on like, am I going to let myself have it? Do I really want it? Yeah, I want that. I know I'm going to get it. Okay, fuck it. Bam. And I just go, I have an undescribable moment. Somebody just hooks me up. Like, another good example. The other day, I just decided to be real nice, did a TikTok, gave somebody a reading because I could just feel they really needed it. She just throws $100 into my account, no big deal. Like, a couple days later, just because she wanted to feel great. Undescribable. That to me is undescribable. It might seem small to you, right? But to me, it's like, whoa, this girl, like, I read for her and it meant so much to her. She must have really needed it. She went back and she gave me some energy. Like, that's fucking undescribable. You don't hear about that every day. So you have to start designing your reality in this way, okay? If you have a joint, you might want to pick it up, because we about to go deep, girl. So why am I pulling out my my Sunday cards? Because tarot is really, really useful to opening up conversations with your multi-dimensional self as to why the fuck you are not letting yourself be in flow. The tarot is just a gateway into your own subconscious. Like, some people are like, oh, how am I gonna, I understand you, Axél. I hear what you're saying. Describe my worth. Try to find it in my reality. Try to figure it out. But I don't know. How am I gonna be more precise? How am I gonna know what I'm looking for? If you got a tarot deck, you don't know what you're looking for. You got some runes? You got an oracle deck? Whew. Does your boyfriend have tarot? Girl. Guy, does your girlfriend have tarot? Just get them to do it real quick. This is the spread you need. This is going to tell you right now what it is that you need. I got to shuffle this deck because this deck is pretty new. So, I literally just got it a couple days ago. I programmed it. They're velvety smooth. Okay, ready? Sorry, I was talking to the deck. I'm like, they were like, you should start here. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that right now. Okay, ready? Okay. So shuffle your deck. Get your deck really, really juicy. You're gonna pull out the first card. The first card is the core of your wealth. Like, what's coming through. Here's the Queen of Cups. So generosity, giving away, in my case, right? And like, this is a cosmic case in general. Like, it's going to be talking about whatever, right? It's talking for all of us, but I'm also pulling for myself. So You can do that because if you can see multiple perceptions, you can read tarot from multiple angles at the same time. And you're going to see how that works, okay? So I'm technically pulling for myself, but also reading for you, and you're going to see how it works with the cards that you're pulling as well. So you pull out your first card, and it talks about like having generosity. I literally just told you that not too long ago. And we all know that. We have to be generous with our abundance. Otherwise, we're not in what? Flow, because you become stagnant if you hoard everything. That's as simple as easily being the negative vibration of wealth, which is being greedy. That's it. Okay? Maybe you're already greedy in your life. Like you think limited and you're like, "Oh, I can't have my friends come over because, they'll smoke all my weed. I can't. If that's if that's how you're thinking, you're not in flow with wealth. Like, how about you invite your friends over and freely out of love because they're your friends and you're in flow and the cosmos is going to give you whatever you want. You will go ahead and smoke weed with them. I guarantee you, rather the money, you have a surplus of money that's going to come through to pay for new weed, or somebody's just going to come through and smoke you out, or somebody's going to come through and be like, listen, I've been growing some weed on the side. I didn't tell you because I wanted to make sure that it was successful, but here's a couple buds, baby. The universe works in mysterious ways. The second one, we're not going to read. The third one, we ain't going to read. The fourth one, no, not either. But the fifth one, we're going to pull it out. The card that comes out is the world, which is if your world is revolving around being in flow, if your perception of your universe is revolving around generosity and being open, you're going to be in a wealth vibration. The number one is tied to your root chakra, which is tied to safety and foundations. The fifth number is tied to the throat chakra, which is your shadow and your truth and your authenticity. The cards themselves with those two numerologies are telling you, we're speaking truth here. This is nothing you don't already know. So why are we bringing this up? But we still continue, right? Fifth, we ain't gonna read the sixth. We're not gonna read the seventh. We ain't gonna read the ninth. Oh, the eighth. We're not gonna read the ninth. We're gonna read the 10th though. The Chariot. Talk about abundance cards. So the Chariot has a really profound message behind it. It talks about going after your dreams no matter what. And that's sometimes part of the awakening process that I described to you earlier. Like you wake up and you have to make choices and you have to say, I'm going to go for what I want. I'm not going to play this whole game here anymore. I'm going to do my most authentic self. I'm going to use chaos to be my friend so I can step into flow. So I can reorganize this negative energy and turn it into the flow. Okay? That's part of what Chariot says, which is like having the bravery to go after what you want. Part of it as well is saying that you also have to recognize that you have to take energy from certain places to fuel other things. So maybe taking energy is meditating, maybe taking energy is like doing a ritual, maybe taking energy is sacrifice. Alchemy talks about there's an opposite and equal exchange for everything that you want. So you cannot get the dream life without making sacrifices for every request that you want, or giving energy for every request that you want, giving consciousness, giving thought, okay? It doesn't mean that it has to be bad. And some people don't think about it this way. Some people are like, oh, in order for me to have my dream life, I have to be completely comfortable. No, what if in order for you you want to become a billionaire, okay? What if for you to become a billionaire, you need to stop working your 9 to 5? Obviously. But you're like, oh no, I gotta work my 9 to 5 and I gotta hit the lotto and I gotta make sure that this shit coin is working for me. And, that's how I'm gonna just get out of this. That's how you're not sacrificing anything. But if you're authentically telling the cosmos, I'm going to be in flow and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be in flow, simplify my life. You literally tell the cosmos to do this. I'm giving you a spell right now. A spell doesn't have to be hocus pocus alakazam. A spell is literally having a thought and speaking it out into the cosmos. That is a spell. and being effective with that. Because why? Your thoughts are magnified by 10 when you speak them. Negative thoughts are 4 to 7 times more powerful than positive thoughts. And when you speak something negative into the cosmos, you are giving that negativity 40 to 70% more probability to manifest itself. Because you're using dark alchemy. Now think about that. Think about that. That's an energy that's been given to you. An energy that's being used through a program against you, through culture. And the elite alchemists of this planet know how to use that programming of spells through spelling and language to create cultures that perpetuate a certain saga in humanity's consciousness. Now, some people are going to be like, oh my God, it's really like far out there, Axél. It's like a conspiracy. I mean, I'm not saying it happens all across the board, all across the planet, but we are seeing that play out right now in a bunch of different ways. If you're not seeing that in your own country or anywhere, like, I mean, just freaking Google something. We're seeing manipulation based off of programs that people are starting to wake up at a global scale and moving away from. Because their energy has been taken to fuel other things. So you need to then realize that, okay, in order for you to get out of a negative cycle, you need to sacrifice something. To become a billionaire, you might have to sacrifice that 9-to-5 job. You might have to be broke for a year without a job. And if you understand alchemy, during that year, shit might seem hard and it might seem inconvenient, but you're meditating. You're working on yourself. You're getting to know yourself, and you're also making an effort to continue walking in the direction that you want to walk into because you put that spell out there. I'm going to be in flow, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to my billionaire status. If you're not willing to say that, then you don't really want it. And that's how you can recalibrate your wealth as well. If you're a social media person and you just feel tired and you don't have the creativity, you don't have the energy to put that shit out there, maybe you don't really want it. Or maybe right now, the lack of energy is because you're supposed to be reapplying that energy somewhere else. And the only way that you end up hitting a block and you feel stuck is because you didn't allow yourself to stay in flow. You didn't allow the power of imagination, the power of creativity to open up the doors to take that energy and apply it somewhere else. The power of the chariot. Hopefully that's making sense as I'm like diving deep into this with you. A true alchemist understands they have to do that. So we're going to skip the 11th. We're going to skip the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, the 18th, the 19th, and then we come to the 20th, the Empress. Now, the number 10 is tied to the Mother Earth chakra. It's tied to grounding and foundation, similar to the root chakra, safety and foundations. The 20th chakra is kind of like undescribable. But when you hit the 24th chakra, you're already fulfilling your purpose, or what people call their dharma, their soul's purpose. So the 20th chakra, being 4 floors down, gives you an idea of the liberation that you're about to experience because you're so close, is the best way we can describe it. Just because the 20th chakra, or the 20th dimension, is an experience that can't really be fully described. Just like the 24th dimension, all we can do is describe it as dharma, or soul purpose, but soul purpose is different for everyone, so we can't really fully describe it because we don't really know the extent of what soul purpose can take form in, right? Because we don't know everyone's story. But here on the 20th chakra, it tells us when we are willing to give and exchange, And we're also willing to go after it with our spells and our thoughts and our consciousness. We sit on the throne of the Empress, which is the number 3, which is creation, which is number 3, the third planet from the sun in certain kinds of like solar alchemy, has a celestial alchemy, has to do with the earth. Foundations, that comes back to the 10th chakra, the card underneath it. And we start seeing kind of like loops that play out with the cards. The Empress herself is somebody who, on the card, she has the symbol of Venus, which is love, which is passion, which is thunder, it's luck, it's wealth. This is how we break the cycle of wealth. You have to understand that you have to give away something for another thing, and that thing might not be convenient for you. The reason why I'm on YouTube today is because I've realized I don't belong on TikTok anymore. There's too much drama there. I don't want to deal with it. It's really hard because TikTok has a great audience, but I don't want to do it anymore. I have to sacrifice that, and that does feel uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie to you, because I'm really good at TikTok. Better than any other platform, but I'm going to give it up. I'm going to do something new. I'm going to do something new. You want to know why? Because I am the galactic sun. I'm a black hole, baby. There's nothing that escapes my gravity unless I decide to let you go. And my manifestation is rock solid. I'm going for it. Nothing's stopping me from it. I'm sitting down looking at how I'm complicating my life. I'm putting that shit right back into the flow. I'm letting things revolve around that. And I'm focusing my perception on the undescribable, while generously giving that out there. Changing the world, my world, changing your world, taking action, sacrificing something, and sitting on that fucking throne. Because why? You're royalty. You don't deserve anything less. You're the only person that has complicated your reality from having what you want, because you're afraid to go for what you want, because you don't understand the dynamics of reality. And sometimes people really want their hands to be held going on this journey, but you're the whole purpose of coming here, of being in this dimension, is being a star child or a child in consciousness when you awaken, and learning how to be a fucking adult, becoming a creator. Sometimes I have students that come through and they're like, oh, they want to ask me a million questions before a ritual happens, as though I can describe to them the experience that it's going to have in their personal reality. If that's how you want to live, if you're afraid of experiencing alchemy, you're going to stay in the 3D. And you know what, all this, you want to know what really manifests that huge amount of wealth? What is this all talking about? A shift in consciousness? But what really is the shift in consciousness? Just energy. And then that brings me back to cryptocurrency right now and the state of affairs of the world. I was reading this article, where the American dollar was threatened by gold at one point in history. So the Americans made it illegal for people to have gold, like personally, because they didn't want gold to outweigh the American dollar, the idea of the American dollar. And now they're talking about doing the same thing with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin, almost trying to see if they can outlaw it so that it doesn't overpower or have more value than the American dollar, because people need to believe in the American dollar for it to sustain its number, its wealth. It's an idea. It's paper. We assigned it wealth. We all collectively said it's worth X amount. And this is what we're willing to trade for this amount of energy. You don't need the rest of the ecosystem of the planet to obey and work for you. You just need to understand how to be in flow with your own energy, and the rest of reality will literally cater to you. That's what's being in flow. That's being the galactic sun. That's being the power of the sun, the power of being in an ascended space. It's energy. Think about it. Cryptocurrency is also imaginary. It has its value because the collective has chosen to give it its value. And yeah, it's crashing right now because whales are playing games. And yeah, it's crashing because there's trends that have repeated in history. And this and that and this and that. Okay. It's all an idea anyway. Cryptocurrency started becoming the new idea of the world, the new currency, the new flow current, the new current of the globe, really, because it's really taking over the globe. How do we make cryptocurrency? We break algorithms, programs. We create programs to break programs to then mine cryptocurrency. And then cryptocurrency requires electricity, which electricity is just energy that creates the physical manifestation of cryptocurrency's value. It's no different than money, paper money. So the whole thing of people being against cryptocurrency, that's where the flow of fucking reality is going. It just has to happen. You guys want to hit space? You guys want to talk to like interdimensional beings? Everything that interdimensional beings do has to do with energy. If you've ever spoken to a deity and you've made an exchange of energy or consciousness with a deity to get something from them, that's what they require from you. Oh, you want to learn this superpower that I have, the deity says? Yeah, for sure, I do. Duh, that's why I'm like talking to you right now, right? Okay, well, I'm going to need you to completely let go of your 9 to 5 job. I mean, can I have the Astra without having to let go of my 9 to 5? No, sorry, that's the price. That's the energy. That's the currency that I require for you to have this Astra, to have this divine superpower. And when you start seeing that the ecosystem on the third dimension and the ecosystem across the cosmos is pretty much an echo of itself, because as above, so below, the whole premise of having a bunch of wealth comes back down to energy. People are like, oh my God, yeah, that seems so simple. That seems like so far out there. Like, how do I make money out of my consciousness? I already explained it to you. What are you willing to give up to get what you want? What are you willing to spend energetic money on to get what you want? You want to become a millionaire? What are you willing to spend in terms of energy to get there? Are you willing to spend the energy of having shitty people around you, and then you have to relocate and create a new group of friends because the people before were holding you back, or they didn't get you? Are you willing to spend that cash on getting to the millionaire status? Because at the end of the day, when you're in the millionaire status, you're going to have a new group of friends. If you want them. And they're all going to be probably like better people that help you progress. And if you are you creating a reality that supplies you with power, all your friends are going to be millionaires too. They're going to be billionaires. Are you willing to spend that cash? Most people will halt here and they will flinch and they won't get there. Or they'll spend it real light. Because if you want something, go all in. Don't just wait. You know what I mean? It's the same thing that happens with crypto. So then later on in the day, I'm sitting here and I'm still channeling. I'm like, wow, like this shit's just coming to me so hard. Like, what? And then I hear, so, this whole thing with cryptocurrency that we explained to you earlier, why don't you just value yourself as like the next hottest fucking cryptocurrency on the planet? Like, everybody needs it. You are an essential. You are this cryptocurrency in the cosmos, because that cryptocurrency is just the illusion of energy. You are undesirable. Everybody needs, the Axél coin. And I'm like, you know what? That's a really good idea. I never even thought about it that way. What did I come back to? What is your worth? Well, my worth is undescribable. People have sessions with me and they freaking lose their minds. They're like, I don't understand. I don't get what you do, but it worked. Undescribable. My mama, my father-in-law shows up through a dream. Crypto's about to crash, baby. Just be ready for it. Spend that money. Don't worry about it. Undescribable. And then you just keep having more experiences that way. You need to know your worth. Most of you don't know what your worth is, and that's what's keeping you away from being in complete and total flow. Your worth might seem egotistical to you. It was for me. When I realized that money meant to me just having my desires fulfilled, it seemed kind of like egotistical to me. Like, what? But if you know what you're doing and you accept it, because your ego has to exist, you're going to sit on that throne because you do deserve everything that you want. Because it's all available now. So we did 1, 5, 10, and 20. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip it all the way to 50. So 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 40. Sorry, these cards are like stuck together, so you can. We're almost there. 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. Ooh, ooh, girl. That's the Ace of Pentacles. All right, we're talking about wealth, and the last card that comes out in the deck is the Ace of Pentacles, which is talking about money. It's Sunday. Crypto is crashing. We're talking about being in flow. This is all divine. The tarot are telling you, like, right now there is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity happening. The opportunity to get ridiculously rich, not only for yourself, but for everybody that follows, if you allow yourself to be in flow. And you might be like, I don't know anything about cryptocurrency. I don't want to get into cryptocurrency, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Don't get into cryptocurrency. You can still get your wealth if you put yourself in flow. It doesn't matter. Like, you want to get your wealth through servicing people through a nail salon business, you can do it. Put yourself in flow. Make that money. Make it rain. Think about that. Make it rain. Water. The element of water is associated with wealth. And then to have luck is the energy of electricity. And when you shock water with electricity, that gets real conductive. What? So luck and being in flow with wealth are intertwined with each other once you start being the flow, when you're in the water. When you are the water or you're in the water because you're in flow, the natural energy of electricity is bound to hit you. Whoa, strokes of luck. Because why? You understood what your flow was. You understood what your wealth was. You understood what your worth was. You did whatever you needed to do to get there. That is the answer to pretty much one of the most basic laws of attracting wealth in your reality. So, these were all the cards I believe that we read, right? I'm going to put them down right here. I'm going to keep the other side. So I don't know if you guys followed. If you guys missed that last part, it's okay. But I pulled out all the cards, and then the cards that were in between until the 50th one, I just put them with all the other ones when I was counting. So you remember I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You know, and I like each number I put in. So I put 10 over, I put 5 here, then I continued, then I put 10 here, then I continued, then I put 20, continued, and then 50. I stopped here. All the cards in between 1 and 50 are right here, okay? And then the other half of it is over here. Why are we doing that? Because it's going to just tell us what's really good. Don't shuffle it. Don't nothing. Just stack them together. Take it for what it is. Here's the tea. Boom, boom. The Knight of Cups and the Ace of Swords, dude. Okay? So this right here is all the... Because this was all the cards that were in between this sequence over here, right? This is all the, like, the fine detail of the story. Like, this will tell you, you know, you gotta watch out with, like, how much sugar you're eating. Hey, you gotta watch out for this one chick that you know. Hey, this and that. And then this one right here is gonna tell you the cosmic lessons that you need to understand right now. This is where power is. The Ace of Swords, okay? The Knight of Cups. Like, just go for it. Go for it. You know that you're going to learn through experience. So, again, the Ace of Cups, the cup suit has to do with water, okay? And we had the Queen of Cups that started off. Had to do with water. We've been talking about water. The cards cannot be even more clear. Like, right now we're having a super cosmic moment, and it ain't even nothing complicated because we're in flow. And then that's how all psychic ability, how all alchemy works. You have to create a flow for it, live in it, move in it, let it just be your thing. But sometimes your flow is always going to get interrupted because maybe somebody else wants to stop on your toes. Somebody wants to stop your flow from happening. Maybe a hater. Are you going to let it stop happening? Because water will not accept no for an answer. 5 of Pentacles. Do not worry about cash because 4 of Swords. This is something that you can definitely change. This is something that can be changed. And based off of the whole entire thing I've been sharing with you up until now with our Sunday little tea here, you just need to change your perception. That's it. So why are you going to be freaking out about this? It doesn't even make sense. The Ace of Cups with the 6 of Pentacles. The 6 of Pentacles is also telling you, this is a really interesting little take here because it's saying, you know how the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups is telling you to be generous and give with other people? The 6 of Pentacles is telling you, don't do that shit just because you think you're going to get wealth coming back from it. Like, do it because you actually mean it. Do it because you actually mean it. You do that and you'll get more wealth coming out of it. If you do it with like ulterior motives, I'm going to hook up my friends with weed because I want more weed to come through. That's your ego. That's not coming from like a true spiritual space. And when I say spiritual, I'm not talking about like, or like, you know, like having to do like witchcraft and all this other shit. Like, it's alchemy. Like, alchemy manifests itself as witchcraft, as shamanism, as like freaking, like the main core of everything, the juice is alchemy, okay? And that's what it is. Like, you need to make sure that you're doing it because you know it's part of the process. Because you know this is your lifestyle. You do that, you change, you quantum leap, all right? When you change your lifestyle, you're literally quantum leaping. You're quantum shifting because you told yourself you're not going to have one life, you're choosing another one. But yes, not everyone's like, oh my God, quantum leaping, quantum jumping, it's so complex. Oh my God, I'm going to have to meditate forever. Oh my God, I wish I could do what you do. Oh my God, this, like, you know how you quantum shift? As easy as a lifestyle change. That's the quantum science right there. How the fuck do you do that? You have to know who you are. You need to be real with yourself. You need to be authentic with yourself. You need to start simplifying. You need to take all that noise, start simplifying your life, okay? And understand that there are programs that you can shift by making choices that are different than choosing to heal, which is only going to propagate your ego. That's it. And it's all just coming back. Like, I'm channeling right now. And if you guys are kind of like, what? This is what's been coming to me all day. This is what you need to hear. I hope this finds you in a moment where, like, you might be freaking out about crypto and you're like, I'm going to just sell. Hold. man. Just hold it. Just don't do anything based off of emotions. Just chill right now. I'm not a financial advisor. You know, I'm just telling you what I'm doing based off what the cards are telling me, all right? And what the cosmos has been telling me, okay? So that's the final judgment. The Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords really comes back to kind of like reminding us that things can get complicated and like things get rough, things get tough because we are shifting. When we shift, there's a natural resistance because it's new. We changed our lifestyles. How many times have you decided to lose weight and then you try one diet, didn't work out for you because it was too difficult, so you try a different diet and that's too difficult, and you try another one and that's too difficult. You attempt lifestyle change, but none of them actually work for you. Instead of trying to like follow somebody else's template of how to lose weight, why don't you make your own template on how to lose weight? Maybe research how other people lose weight and then come up with something that works for you that is your personal plan instead of letting somebody else do it for you. Why? Because your thoughts are that powerful. You can literally make that happen. You just have chosen not to do that. That's the final judgment. Stepping into this power and recognizing that if you want something, make it happen. Some people are always sitting down like, I would love to have a business, but I don't understand how I just hope one day I'll be able to do it. Bitch, what? Like, and I'm just telling you like straight up how I would like how I feel sometimes when some people say some shit to me. Like, what? You're just waiting around for a freaking business to just pop out? Like, have you even done any research? Do you even have an idea? No, but it'll come to me eventually. How long have you been sitting on this? For like 5 years. That idea hasn't come to you yet in 5 years? That's just never gonna happen. Like, you really need to start brainstorming, or you gotta let that dream go because you don't want it that bad. Because if you wanted it, you would have started creating some sort of idea, like a manifestation board, journaling about it, like idealizing it, knowing that maybe you want to get into bakery items, but you're not sure you want to make cupcakes. Maybe you might want to get down to making them fat cookies. You know what I mean? Like something had to be working in the cog system for it to become some sort of generated manifest. If it ain't doing that, then you don't really want it. And it's the same thing when people are like, oh, I want to understand how you do. Hey, Axel, I want to know how you understand this one thing of like the cosmos. It's an experience. If you want to learn it, I'll point you in the direction to find it. But if you ain't going to live that life, you're never going to find out because it's alchemy. You need to make the choice to live that life. And that's what I teach you all the time. Like, I swear to God, it's all, and like some people are like, oh, you know, I hear him and his meditations are so powerful and whatever. The meditations are to teach your body and your consciousness what to tune into. And if you've been to any of my classes, if you've been to any of my workshops, if you're on Patreon, and you haven't figured that out yet, well, hell, hey, wake up call, girl. The tea is real. Like, and I'm not even I'm kind of sipping tea. I'm sipping something called Kim. They did not pay me. No. I'm just saying it's delicious. But it's kind of like tea. So here's the tea. That's what I'm telling you. Is to learn the vibration. Because when you become that thing, like everybody tells you that. Like when you become whatever it is that you want to be, it's just going to happen. And people are like, I don't know how to become something that I'm not. You already are, though. That's the victimization of the ego. That is the victimization of the ego that's coming through and saying, I'm not that thing. That's why you have to define your worth and say, okay, I'm the indescribable. My worth is undescribable. You start looking for undescribable moments everywhere. You have your worth. Your ego can't hold you back anymore because you know something. You want it bad enough, you'll Google it. You'll find the right class. You'll go through the experience. Hopefully it's been like powerful so far. I'm gonna take a deep breath real quick because I'm channeling real hard, and I'm gonna sip on this tea. The other thing I want to talk to you about, the last thing I think I'll throw in here for today, when it comes to wealth, It's not just knowing your worth, okay? It's not just knowing your worth. That's part of it. That really does create the foundations of the flow to cup in. And then you can create affirmations that, describe that, you know what I mean? And that's the other thing. Like, before I jump into my next point, affirmations. If you're having undescribable experiences, you want to create affirmations that reaffirm this, because then you're creating the flow, and then you're creating a vortex, and then you're creating a cycle that perpetuates you to being undescribable. You can make infinities in reality. Infinities don't have to be self-sabotaging. Infinities just have to be well constructed, because they're programs. We're using the divine masculine to rearrange the chaos around us to become beneficial for us. So you define undescribable, you find the undescribable moments, you acknowledge them, you allow them to change your perception, you create affirmations. I'm always having undescribable moments. My life is undescribable. The magic that lives around me 24/7 is undescribable. Record your voice saying shit like that. And then just go ahead and listen to it when you're driving, when you're about to fall asleep. Bam. And you create a cycle. And then you don't even have to think about it anymore, because your unconscious mind has retained the information so quickly that now it's just your life, okay? Subconscious reprogramming is what that's called, okay? And that's what you've been kind of like trying to figure out up until now. So we talked about subconscious reprogramming and your perception. The last thing that I wanted to share with you about wealth was, it just skipped me. Tarot, hook me up. Point me in the right direction, baby. What was that I was going to say, my loves? Nine of Cups, about luxury. Yeah, I do remember. Okay, like, I'm almost there. Tell me. Had to do with luxury and being the queen. I know, but I was going to tell them about Mimi, but I didn't want to talk about me. Okay, fine. Anyway, so Mimi. Mimi's my dog. Mimi's my baby. She is my deliciousness, everything. And the love that she gives people is just immense. It's like undescribable. Again, undescribable. Like my little puppy's fucking heart. It's amazing. One of the things that she's really taught me is like feeling gratitude for the undescribable energy that we have. It's not just enough by looking at it and saying like, I fucking have undescribable moments. It's about actually adding in something that's so powerful, and we don't actually even think about it this way because nobody talks about it this way. Love. Love is essentially another form of gratitude. Love doesn't always mean gratitude. But like one of the things that I've noticed, and Mimi teaches me, she's all of a year old and she teaches me, she's so wise, you know what I mean? Hanging out with her, I've realized that I appreciate what she makes me feel. I'm grateful for that. And I can't describe how grateful I am for that. And that allows me to appreciate her more. And that gets me closer to love. And when you love something, you magnetize it. And you create a surplus of positive magnetizing. And this is what I teach as well. It's called quantum heart, or like Joe Dispenza talks about, similar to like getting in the heart space. Epigenetics talks about it. Is about being able to say, okay, like I love this event. I want to have more of this energy. I acknowledge it. I'm grateful for it. I love it. I'm going to continue to harvest more of this. And you see it in your life and you show appreciation for it. But it's not just like, hey, I'm so appreciative of it. I'm going to sit down and just say, like, I'm grateful for it. Yeah, okay, feel it. Like, I literally will sit down and I'm cuddling with my mama and I'm just like, Mimi, I love you so fucking much. And I'm feeling it. Like, I'm feeling at the cores of my depth. And I know that when I'm saying that to my little girl, bam, I'm telling the cosmos, I want more experiences like Mimi. And they don't have to be puppies. It could be in the form of a fucking vacation. It could be in the form of like a great conversation. It can be in the form of just waking up one morning and just having a surprise. It can be in the form of having a breakfast that is undescribable. Like, you just, you know, have you ever had something like that where you eat it and you're like, all you're doing is moaning. Like, you can't even describe it anymore because it's just that good. That's how you hack reality. That's wealth. That's the main thing that you have to really, really own when you're trying to open up the doors of wealth and you're trying to really like bring the floodgates in. Because you know why? Millionaires do not complicate reality. Legit. They really don't. They simplify it. They tell themselves, I want something, I'm going after it. How do we make it simple? How do we make it streamlined? How do we get from point A to point B with the least amount of interruptions as possible? It's going to happen no matter what. We're in flow. We just got to keep creating the flow. We got to create a system, the flow. And that's how they become millionaires. They live that life. They share that life. They are that life. They're that millionaire life. Sending you lots of love. I hope this was helpful. And I will catch you the next time I end up doing a Sunday channeling. Hopefully I can keep it up. I am infamous for not keeping momentum, being in Aries and super like ADHD. So like I get things started and I'm like, great idea, but I never have like the drive. And I'm working on that because I want to be in flow of having this kind of energy, right? So I'm gonna take action and I'm gonna try to be here next Sunday. Don't know what time it is because I started channeling and I got on here, but I'm gonna try to come back on Sunday. So I'm loving you. Bye.